Hey, welcome to our today's lesson, which is computer word processing. So we're going to learn word processing, which is a topic 4 out of 15 for subsidiary ICT for Uganda Senior 5 Term 1. And I'm Kizanabat, who is going to text you, and I work as an e-learning coordinator, URDT Education. So presentation outline, we shall look on introduction to word processing, where we're going to have introduction to word processing, working with word processing software. So, introduction to word processing as a topic for word processing. The main objective, we shall define the concept of word processing. Then we describe various examples of word processors like Microsoft Word, Abbey Word, OpenOffice, OG Writer, and others. Then we shall learn how to open a word processor. Then we identify basic features found in a word processor. So let's start with defining the concept of word processor. What is a word processing? It is the process of creating text, documents containing objects like tables and simple graphics using a computer applications. So word processing, we create text, document, which contains in form of a table and simple graphics. So we can insert pictures, you can insert tables, you can insert shapes, but when you are trying to make a document, and for you to make a document, which means what you are doing, you are creating a text using a word processor. So word processing is the process of creating a text, documents, which will contain some objects like tables, graphics, and others. So word processors are the most commonly used computer application in the world. Most of computer users, it is the common application which they use in this computer world. So they normally use word processor as their key application for creating a text. The word processor are mostly used for writing letters. So we use word processor to write letters. If you want to write a report, objects, books, essays, memos, CVs, and others. So for you to type, you are not supposed to use it depends which text are you creating. If you want to create a CV, you need to know which application are you supposed to use when you are creating a CV. If you want to create a book, which application are you supposed to use? So to do all these things, you need to know the exact application you want to use. If you want to have an essay memorandum of understanding, please, it is better to identify the best application for you to use. And for these ones, you must use word processors. So we have advantages of using word processors. We have two types of word processors. We have electronic and manual typewriters. What is the difference between electronic and manual? Electronic is using a computer based. You must have an electronic device to create a CV, to create a memorandum of understanding, to create essays and others. But manual typewriters or manual electronic, sometimes manual you can create a CV using a pen and a book. You can create a memorandum using a pen and a book without using any computer based. So two types of word processors. We have electronic, where you are supposed to use computers, and manual, which is not computer based. So what are advantages of using electronic and manual typewriters? We have manual typewriters. And these are old word processors which they had been used to process a document, to write a document. One, word processors can save soft copies for future use, while typewriter has to be fully retyped if needed again. So for you to type using a typewriter and you want to have several copies, you need to retype again and again. But for word processor, you just save your copy and you keep on editing. During typing with word processor, it is possible to undo. So if you have made a mistake, you can go back. You can place a Control Z to undo. You can go in front, Control Y, you redo. So any error you can check and troubleshoot and get the good results. But typewriters, no need of going back because it is typing again and again. We have a typewriter prints one character at a time, while a word processor prints many pages at a time. So a page contains multiple characters, but a typewriter will print a character at a time, while a word processor prints more pages, which means a word processor will print a lot of characters in one page at once. There is a variety of quick text formatting. We can bold, we can change colors, you can underline. So using a word processor, you can all do these things. But for typewriter are limited. We have few options for formatting a text. Provides grammar check, spelling check. If you have made a mistake, you can select an error word, then you look for a good spelling and a good word to use while you are using word processing. And this feature it is not rare in the typewriter. You can insert graphics like pictures, shapes in word processor. Yet it is not easy to draw while you are using a typewriter. So a typewriter it is very hard to insert a picture, to draw. So you must draw, but here it will allow you to insert a picture when you are in word processor. So word processor it is good to use than in typewriter. So to continue, Awadipo allows the user to type continuously without pressing the enter key because it has an automatic word wrap end of each line. Instead of pressing an enter button to go to the new line, we have a feature called word wrap, which will help us to end a line and you go to the new line. Whereas the user needs to advance the level of typewriter. So for you to use a typewriter, you must have more skills so that you can end a line and you go to another line. But for this one, it has an automatic word wrap, which will allow you to end a line, then you go to the next line without pressing an enter button. It is very simple to align text in a document. You can align left, center, right, or you can even justify your document. But for typewriter, it is manually align the text, and this one it is very difficult. Word has edit features. You can copy and paste. You can duplicate. You can insert new pages. You can highlight. You can do what? But a typewriter, there's no a clipboard to allow you to do these things. Word can work on many pages at a go by inserting pages, page numbers, footers, headers, watermarks. So word processor can allow us to insert watermarks, can insert watermark images, text, can insert headers by your name, even footers, you can insert page numbers. But using a typewriter, one page at a time to insert those things. A word can insert drawings, as I have told you before, pictures. But using a typewriter, you need to draw, and it is very difficult to do this in. So to continue, have a lot of advantages. So I have shared this on our e-learning website. Please make sure you download those notes and read them. And make sure you transfer or you write in your books. You summarize, read and understand, then you summarize. So word processor, it has a mail merge. You can send or you can create a document and send a letter to multiple customers or people. But this feature, it is not there in the manual typewriter. So typewriter makes a lot of noise when you are typing, when you are operating. So, but Word, there's no noise. It is relatively quiet. So when you are typing using a typewriter, it makes a lot of noise. We have symbols there. We can write equations when you are using word processor. So that is another point. So you can insert symbols, you can insert equations, you can insert English alphabet, commonly used symbols, and these things are found in word processors than in manual typewriter. So members, those are some few advantages. So, but we have different disadvantages of using electronics. Yes, we have seen Microsoft Word, it is good, but also we have some few disadvantages to use electronic word processor. We know these computers, sometimes they have some challenges, they have problems. So we have difficulties to use them. So we have few disadvantages, which I'm going to highlight as listed below. Word processor cannot be used without electricity. So without electricity, you can't use Word. Reason, it is an electronic device computer which has this application. So without electricity, you can't operate. If it is word processor, which means you must have a computer. And all of us we know a computer is an electronic device. It is expensive to buy. These computers are very expensive. Yes, you know how to use Microsoft Word, you know how to use word processors or any other word processor software, you know, but to use these softwares, you must have a computer, which means without a computer, you will not use it. This means you have to buy a computer. So it is very expensive to buy a computer so that you can use. They have led to unemployment of typists because one person using a word processor can do work which would be done by many using typewriters. You may find you have a CV which you are typing, and that CV has like 5 pages. So you have 5 typewriters. You can assign 1 page to each so that they can type and produce work. That is employment. You will employ more than one employee. But using Word, you can type more than 100 pages and you insert pages. You duplicate. And this will lead to unemployment to typists. Many people are computer literate, which means they don't know how to use computers. Yes, you want to type a CV, but these people, they don't know how to use computer programs, which means you must train them. That is an disadvantage of word processor. You must have skills on how to operate a computer and computer programs. Computers have viruses which lead to loss of data. Sometimes we normally save our data, our information in soft copies. And you find these computers, they always, we connect them to internet, we use the flash disk to transfer files, and those things, they bring viruses to our computers. So these computers can affect our soft copies and we can lose our data when you're using this electronic. Using word processors on light emitting computer monitors for long lead to eye disorders. So it is not good to take a lot of time using computer because you can be affected. A screen, it has a light emitting monitor which will lead to eye disorders. So it is not good to overuse these computers. At least take some times and rest, or blink after a few seconds. Requires purchase of hardwares like printers. You know how to use Microsoft Word and you have typed a CV. Then they want that CV on the paper. What are you supposed to do? You are supposed to purchase other hardware like printers, scanners, to print those soft copies so that you can transfer from soft copies to hard copies. So it has an extra cost. Yes, you know you have your computer, you have bought your computer, which is expensive, and again you buy another computer, which is a printer. Again, it is expensive, but for a typewriter to produce those copies without extra hardwares. So those are some few disadvantages of using Microsoft, of using word processors. Some examples of word processors. We have Microsoft Word. We have Google Docs, which is used when you have internet. We have App Pages, Core Word Perfect, Apple Pages, Open Office, etc. NB, text editors are not fully word processing applications because they are generally used to type without any special formatting. Text editors are mainly used to create small notes, memos, and programs. Examples of common text editors are Notepad, Note++, Edit, etc. So we have examples of processors and we have text editors. So text editors are not fully word processor applications because they miss some features, formatting features. And here I have listed examples where you have Notepad. So for you to use a Notepad to type a CV, it will not produce a good quality. So which means you must use either Microsoft Word, Google Docs, Apple Pages, or others. But these ones are mainly to write a short text, a small note. Those are text editors. So, but for word processors, they must have more features which will allow you to format your text. Let's learn how to open a word processor. We shall learn these things practically, but we need to first see how to do it. First understand how can you open a word processor. To open a word processor, you click on a start button. So if you don't know start button, we have a keyboard with a keyboard key, which we call it window key, with the four boxes, small boxes. So that one is a start bar. You can even you see on the task bar, we have those four boxes. That is a start bar. So which means you must place that start bar and it will open another dialog box. Then you go to all programs. Then you look for Microsoft Office. Then you will find your Microsoft Office Word. Then you open. You can also use a search bar. You just place a window button and type Microsoft Word. Also, you can open your Microsoft Word. You will see the icon displayed, and we are going to see these things practically. Identifying basic features of a word processor. What are basic features of word processor? And here we are, word wrap. This feature automatically sends a word that doesn't fit within the margin settings onto the next line without the user pressing enter. When you are typing in a word processor, there's no need to press an enter button to go to the next line. If you are still on the first paragraph, maybe if you want to create a new paragraph, that's when you are supposed to press enter. But we have a feature when you are typing paragraph and our paragraph, it has more than 5 lines. So for it to go to the next line, we have a feature which will send this text automatically to the next line without pressing enter, and that one is a word wrap. Find allows the user to locate all occurrences of a particular character or word. We have a feature which will allow you to find a word. If you have 20 pages and the word which you are looking for is on 15 on page 15, how can you? It will take a lot of time to scroll so that you can look for that word. So we have this feature which will allow us to type a keyword and you press enter, then it will take you direct to that word which you have allocated. Replace. You can also replace words with other, allows the user to substitute existing characters, words with the new ones. If you have a word called hello and you want to replace this with how are you, we have this feature which will help you to replace that word to a new one. Spell check. We have seen advantages of word processors. They do spell check. So we have spell checker the future. If you have typed and you don't know the spelling, these word processors help us to get a good spelling, and that feature which we use, it is a spell checker. So when you are typing a text and you get an error, it will underline that error. Then you right click, you will see the correct answer and correct word, then you select. Grammar checker. Also, this reports grammatical errors usually by a wavy green line and suggests ways to correct them. We have thesaurus. This one suggests alternative words with the same meaning. So if you don't know the word, its meaning, you can see using this feature and see the meaning of this word. And sometimes it is synonyms. Mail merge, this is feature used to create similar letters to be sent to several people. So if you want to send, and we have seen this in advantages, if you want to send similar letters to different people, we use a mail merge feature. Automatic page numbering, we can number our pages automatically from 1 up to the end page, even using Roman numerals. You can even use letters ABC and others. And these things, it is done automatically. There's no need of clicking on each page to insert page numbers. We also have tables. Allow users to organize information in rows and columns. So we have a feature which will allow us to create a table, and we know a table, it is in the form of rows and columns, and it will allow us to organize our information in that format. Multi-columns arrange text into 2 or more columns that look similar to newspapers or magazines. So we have also that feature. We have drop cap. This one formats the first letter in a paragraph to be dropped across 2 or more lines. We are going to see these things practically. Clip art, it's like images. These are images which which illustrates concepts in a document. So these images illustrates concepts in documents like animals, flowers, house, and others. Templates. This feature it is also in a document. This allows you to format a layout based on the initial new similar document. You can have a template which you want. You just create a template and edit that template which you have created. Instead of typing from scratch, We have a feature of ready-made Word document with text. You just remove the text and put yours. Printing allows you to transfer a soft copy to a hard copy. So it will transfer from a computer to a printer. Word count. This one counts the number of words, characters, paragraphs, etc. in a document. We have headers and footers. Used to insert text in the top and bottom margin through the document. So to insert headers and footers, they are not supposed to be inserted in the work area. So you are supposed to insert in the bottom or top of the margin. And we know the work area, it's where we type our text. But outside the work area, that space outside the work area, we call it a margin. So on top, it's where you are supposed to insert header. Then bottom, it's where you are supposed to insert a footer. We have footnotes and endnotes are used as references that provides additional information. You can add additional information in a Word document using these features. We can insert, delete. So these features allows users to add and remove portions of texts while editing a document. You can insert pictures, you can delete pictures, you can insert shapes, you can delete shapes. So it will allow you to add or remove portions of a text. So our next subtopic we shall see on working with word processors. So we have learned the introduction of word processors. So we are going to do these things practically and see how we can use Word, Microsoft Word, how we can open, how we can create a document, how we can insert tables. So I can highlight some few objectives. So we shall create a new document. We use inbuilt Word document templates to edit. Then we name and save files in any location, can be on a desktop. Then we shall identify features which I have explained and we see them in word processors and we see how they work. We have typesetting content in a new document. We shall also look on word processor edit features. We shall also format our document which we create. And we use external data like importing a text clips and other images from websites, from a flash disk, or from any other external device. Also, we shall manipulate images. We crop these images, we resize them, we increase the size, and how to maintain the aspect ratio. So those are a few objectives which we shall see in word processing software practically. So our next lesson is going to be working with word processors, how to do these things practically. So thanks for listening. Let's meet in our next lesson.